Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of the Hardscape Growth Show. I'm your host, Alex, and today we are joined by Tony Zambito of Zamco Group out of Montreal, Canada. Tony's been in business for it's about 10 years now, right?
Yep.
10 years.
10 going on our 11th season.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Team of 6 guys in the field. Tony and his brother run sales calls for the business. Tony does all the design work. And they've been blowing up all over social media. They've been blowing up all over their market. They're growing tremendously, and people affectionately call him the Driveway King because of the curb appeal and the unique look and feel that he brings to his designs. Tony, thanks for joining us. How are you?
I'm very good. Thank you for having me.
All right. So today we're going to talk about a few different things specific to you and your business, and we're going to dive right in. And because I know you have a lot of strong opinions, so we want to know what's something that everybody has as a belief about the hardscape industry or thinks is a truth about the hardscape industry that you disagree with?
Well, I have to say this whole, well, I can't charge more because my competitors charge X amount. I believe that that's not something that you should, run your use as a rule of thumb for your business, because if you could differentiate yourself from your competitors and you bring something else to the table that they're not, then why shouldn't you charge more for what you're bringing to the table? So I strongly disagree with that. I don't think that you should base your price and your worth off of what your competitor's worth, because you're not necessarily on the same playing field all the time, right? So
you're telling me
you have to know what you're worth.
If I'm differentiating my business from my competitors, that's a reason to pay me more. The clearer reason is if I'm able to add more value to the customer, right? If I'm able to deliver value through the experience or through what I'm building or whatever, then it is worth more.
Well, essentially, it's all about the value more so than, I'm not saying, hey, I'm, like in my case, I'm Zamco, so I'm going to charge you more. That's not what I'm saying, because, I'm proud of my brand and I'm proud of what I built. But at the end of the day, I'm just another company. What sets me aside is really the value that I bring to the table and the entire experience. So yes, the clients are willing to pay more for that, and it's proven itself because they are paying us more for that. But again, we're taking that extra margin and we're just putting it back into the project. So they're winning, but we're getting a great portfolio and a great reputation. So in the end, everyone's winning. The client's paying more, but they're getting what they're paying for.
How do you deliver more value? What are you doing?
Well, essentially, it really comes down to, you've seen our work. We're very, very attentive to detail. Our jobs stand out. Where someone will see a spot to place a table, we'll see, like a spot to put in a detail band, some lighting, create an ambiance, create an experience more so than just a surface area. And I think that goes a long way with a lot of clients. The clients that are contacting us don't want that cookie cutter type job. And there's nothing wrong with that if that's the type of work that you want to put out. It's a volume game at that point, which is fine. Some people can make profit that way. We've come up with a way to make profit our way. And it just, in return, has given us this amazing portfolio where we've gotten the credibility to justify our price. So at the end of the day, what we're delivering more on is really the project itself, the final product, what the client's getting. We're offering turnkey service, almost like a concierge service, if you want to call it that, where we always say we'll take care of as much or as little of the project as you need. If you have your own fence guy, your own pool guy, whatever it is, that's cool. But if our clientele is more, because we're in the higher end market, a lot of them are businessmen, businesswomen that don't have time to call all these contractors and align all these schedules. And then there's hiccups where they're calling us. They're saying, look, this is what I want. You know what I mean? Come up with a concept for me. This is the idea. And can you just take care of everyone? Bring in your own people and we'll take care of that. We charge for it, but we take care of it. So we're delivering on our promise.
Yeah. Well, but you're right. You say you charge for it, but rightfully so. That is an added value. You're saving me as the customer time. It's like you just said, like I'm a busy business person. I don't have time to go chasing all these different people. If I could deal with one person who's going to take care of the pool, the shed, the fence, the hardscaping, the planting, the lighting, the whatever, the natural gas, everything. Oh, why wouldn't I? It makes my life so much easier. Plus, I have one person to hold accountable, which is nice too. I don't have to chase all these different companies. Well, you're late, you're not late, you're on time. I'm not happy with the work, I'm not going to pay you. All that stress is removed from the customer. It goes on to you, but that's why you bring value to the equation.
But we've accepted that stress willingly. That's part of our service. That's what we're throwing out there. And we're also very transparent on the fact that we specialize in hardscape. We are not deck builders. We are not a fencing company. We do not install pools. We specialize in our field, but we have a network of contractors that we've built over the years that specialize in their field. So we bring in the best of the best. So your project gets done perfectly from A to Z. And if there is an issue, I've worked with these people before. I'm not dealing with sales reps. I'm dealing with owners of these companies. So instead of the client, I'd be dealing with the sales rep. And then what happens when one schedule doesn't align with the other? Now one gets a delay. There's fees that incur. And who's responsible for these fees? Who put the pool too high? Who put the fence on the wrong line? All these things come into one. They funnel into one. And that all comes to me right now. But I'm fine with that because you know what I mean? It sucks in the sense of it's more stress. But I'm fine with it because I have the experience to handle it. Whereas a homeowner, it's probably the first and maybe the last time they'll do it.
Yeah. Yeah. I laugh because I've lived it so many times on so many projects I've been on too, where the pool, just to say the pool is too high. How many times does that happen in a year when the pool is a separate contract? Almost every time. Almost every time.
I go on every job site before a pool gets installed and pull grade. I don't care who's installing the pool. I don't care if it's my guys or not. I go and pull grade on every single project because that is 0.0 of the project. That is what's going to decide everything. And that's what's going to either make or break the budget, right? Because it's easy. Once you start adding walls, that budget gets blown really quickly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
So tell me, let's keep drilling down on this adding value. So being able to manage a large network of subcontractors that are professionals, that are the best of the best in their specific field, that adds value to the customer. What else do you do to add value that sets you apart from your competitors?
I mean, essentially, we offer an entire in-house design service. So none of my designs are outsourced, anything like that. So there's a quicker turnaround time, for one.
Okay.
And also, when we design something, because I've gotten plans from people where they're like, "Hey, I had a designer design this," and then it almost never ends up being what was initially designed that ends up happening because it's just not
feasible.
Is that? Well, because the thing is, I mean, not to say all designers. There's some designers that owned landscaping companies or hardscape companies or worked in the field that understand heights, limitations, all that. Now, we're known for not really having limitations, but we understand that at a certain point, there's certain things that just don't make sense to do. Yeah. Where if you want it, look, I'll do it. But is it the best bang for your buck? No. And that's what
I'm not going to cut. I'm not going to make a wall turn on a 2.5 foot radius. That's a little too tight, right? Exactly. I can, but it's a lot of cuts and it's probably going to look a little clunky because the blocks are this wide. When you have that first-hand field experience, that plays a big role.
It looks great.
You design it and you build it. That helps.
Exactly. We're a design and build firm. We are not just a hardscape contractor. We are a design and build firm, and that extends to every aspect of our project. So basically, when I design something, I've already built it in my head. So sometimes I come up with these crazy features and everything's custom, right? Everything in our industry is custom, really, when you think about everything. So when I come up with these custom features, I don't just draw it out and say, hey, you like this? You think it's cool? I draw it out. But while I'm drawing it, I'm calculating the blocks. I'm calculating the structural aspects of it. I'm deciding exactly how I would go about building this to see if there's flaws in my initial design and to make sure that it's even doable before I present it to a client. So I'm not giving them hope and then taking it away. Definitely, I think there's a big value in peace of mind in this industry, in every industry, but more so in ours because, people have bought furniture before. People have owned kitchens before and all of this stuff in the construction industry. But how many people do you know that have had multiple major hardscape projects? Because we're in the major hardscape projects more so than the small. So it's not something that they're familiar with. A lot of times they come to us blind, and it's understandable, where we're giving them that peace of mind. And I think that peace of mind, for me anyway, I've paid more for a lot of stuff for peace of mind, because that you can't put a price on that.
What else do you do to provide that peace of mind? What are some of the other things? Like you have an extensive network of contractors. You handle the design process, and that ties into the build process that's entirely managed by you and your team. What else?
Well, basically, I mean, also the network that I've built. Look, I've filtered through some less qualified contractors as well. Luckily, most of them were before the build process. So I have a very good gauge on the type of people I want to work with, and the type of people that will best fit our project, because not every company can come in and work around our types of projects, because there's height variances, and there's this and there's that, and there's so many different aspects of it. Plus, we're selling a vision, so I need contractors to work alongside me that share the same vision as me, and that takes years to
you guys who are like up for the challenge, who are flexible, who are adaptable, not guys who are just coming in, smash into work, collect my check and get out. Those guys aren't a fit for a Zamco design.
Exactly. Like my gas techs know, through working with them all the time, I mean, even on the showcase project, right? Through working with them all the time, these guys come in and they didn't have to ask anything. Everything was prepped for them.
That's true.
You know, they came, I remember
there was a synchronization where
exactly.
Yeah.
I remember
you knew what they needed. They knew what you needed. That's it.
Exactly. I'm like, yeah, they're already gone. They're done. What do you mean they're done? Yeah, they're done. They did everything. Wow, that was fast. You know what I mean? And that's what it is. It's value. And honestly, when you start working with the right people and you work with them constantly and you get that rhythm, the project goes quicker too, because nobody wants to be stuck in a construction zone for months on end or for longer than they have to. So my goal is never to start a project, leave, or let something linger because I don't have the qualified subcontractor for that aspect of the job.
Yeah.
So there's definitely added value.
You could be good, and the customer may love you, but they don't want to see you at their house every day.
Exactly. You know what I mean?
Like, get out of here as fast as you can.
It costs them a lot of espresso. So it's below the espresso budget. Like whatever it is, I like $1,000 of espresso budget and we're good.
If we go to like the design or the customer experience part, I know you're coming to us from your office right now. Does your office play a role in the experience for the customer, in coming back to the original question, in that peace of mind also?
100%. One, you know where to find us. I didn't show up in a pickup, and I could be anywhere with that pickup at any time. We have a fixed location where the client knows where to find us, and most contractors do, right? But I still think that no matter what, that still adds some kind of peace of mind to a client, saying, you know what, if the guy's not answering his phone, I could go knock on his door. Whereas
it makes it more real.
Exactly. And also the way we've set up our office, we have a full Techo block display in our office, as much as we can on the second floor, because we opted for a second floor with a full glass front, kind of give that different experience as opposed to the typical showcase outside and come into our shop/office. This is not a shop. This is strictly office.
You wanted to create like an elevated, well, I mean, it's literally elevated on the second floor, but a more elevated experience where it's a little more refined, a little more design focused, a little more style focused, where it's, that's a good way to put it.
We created a boutique experience. The clients coming here and I've referenced, pavers to tile many times. The way you would go to a tile boutique
shop
and
or
you
store,
pull out all the sample boards and you get to compare them and create design boards as well, right? Because what set us apart really is the fact that we're interior design mentality. We have an interior design mentality that we bring into this industry. So we set up our projects that way. So they're getting the design board, they're seeing their materials together, and also we have the big the 65-inch screen that's hooked up to our computer. So when they're looking at their plans in 2D, 3D, we're looking at it live and we're making adjustments right there on the spot without spinning a little laptop and saying, "Hey," and I'm trying to look at an angle.
What do you think of
trying
this?
to look at an angle. This really
so it's a full experience. I come in,
it's
I
an
can select
experience.
materials. I'm getting a presentation of my design. I'm consulting with you live there across the table. We're making adjustments on the fly. It feels, as a customer in that experience, very personal to me, because you're welcoming into your home. You make me a coffee. I sit down. I'm comfortable. You show me all the stuff. That's a pretty significant investment. When did you decide to do that?
It's been a year that we've been here, and I have to say,
Okay.
like, you know, that we kind of broke through the boundaries of design. I'd say we said earlier, this is my 11th season, but it's really 4 years that we've broken the mold for what we want to do. And it's a year where, and I was looking for the right spot. So I'm very big on, I always say, like, my designs. I have a ton of designs locked and loaded, but I won't just put them out because I think they're cool. I have to find the right project. Same thing here. I needed to find the right space to make this work. And I didn't care about how quickly I got it. It was just that it was the right space. So I found the right space and everything worked out. And we did our renovation. Like, we did our 1224 herringbone tile. You know what I mean? Because why put it stack bond, or we wanted 1224 herringbone, and we did the whole 900 square feet of our showroom 1224 herringbone. We would have loved to put pavers, but on a second floor, that's not the best idea.
It's a little heavy. Yeah,
just a little, just a bit. But we built everything custom too. So when a client comes up here, my brother-in-law is a welder, so I've made all of my furniture. Everything is, I've cut all the pieces of metal. I've been in the shop with my brother-in-law just welding and all that stuff, and everything's custom. And you get up here and you're like, wow, this is what this company's all about. Our coat rack is custom. Our coat rack are the big 3/8 hooks that have been filed down and anchored with steel and all that. And it's like, people come in and they comment like, wow, this coat rack's amazing. I'm like, dude, you're signing a 6-figure hardscape project and you're loving the coat rack. I'll sell you the coat rack if you want, but
but I think that's important, because that is the type of stuff that exactly. It's the attention to those details, the willingness to go the extra mile with everything that you do, whether it's my backyard, my front yard, the presentation room, or even the coat rack. There's a way that you do things, and that's something that differentiates you from any competitor. And clearly, it makes it so easy to be like, yeah, we are a little bit more expensive than everyone else, but you probably don't have to justify it that much if they go through that experience. If they don't go through that experience, then you're the same as everyone else.
It's a challenge.
If they just call you and they're like, well, how much? Exactly.
Yeah. It's basically what I said was, we were doing well with a portfolio-based marketing strategy, right? It was all portfolio-based, social media and all that. And I know you had the marketing level up course today, and that plays a big part. I think a lot of people should take the time to watch that because we were strong. I mean, we are still strong on social media, nowhere as strong as we would like to be. So that's something we're going to work on this year. But we wanted to create a better experience, because everybody has a portfolio. Just a question of how impressive your portfolio is. But like, they come in and I have people that freak out. Like, if you see the sign behind me, that sign, I could have easily gotten some vinyl cut and put up a vinyl sign. That's 1,900 some odd screws, one by one, pre-drilled, pre-inserted. Because if I'm going to put my logo, I'm going to do it in 1,900 some odd screws. Why? Because that's what I do.
You have to take it to that other level.
It creates
and
a
I think that's key.
piece.
That's true too.
Right?
That's
you
true
get,
too.
You get rapport with the client too, because you're not just like, hey, these are the materials. I want to sell you materials. I want to sell you a project. It's like, okay, you're at our big display table, which we built out of steel and put pavers in the surface as the tabletop, as opposed to wood or anything. And we're there, and they're like, oh wow, that's cool. Yeah, and then you start talking. Yeah, actually, I pre-drilled every single one. It took me 18 hours, and you get sidetracked a bit, but in a good way. Because you're still talking about how meticulous you are. And now you're like, okay, now you sold them on that. And they're like, this guy really pays attention to detail. All right, now back to your pavers. So look, what I'm thinking, now every idea you have is on another level.
There's that much
visionary.
more. That's it.
Right? So it's really
but it's true. It's true. It's funny. Sometimes it feels awkward to say like the things that you're trying to make people feel or perceive about you. But these things are so important in business, because at the end of the day, when someone is buying, between you and me, Tony, and tell me if I'm wrong, but like when someone is buying, they're buying like from the emotion is what makes them fall in love and be like, okay, all right, let's do it. And then, and this is just human nature and human psychology, and then the brain kicks in to try to justify it. Like, oh, well, he is more expensive. However, he's very, very attentive to details, and I feel comfortable with that. That makes me feel comfortable that this work is going to be done properly, that I'm not going to have issues. He's more expensive, but he told me the materials he's using are better because of this. But really, they fell in love, and now they're trying to rationalize the spending. And that's so key to building an experience that helps elevate the conversation where we're not talking about dollars and cents, because at the end of the day, you're not going to be enjoying the dollars and cents in your backyard. You're going to be enjoying the experience I'm going to create for you.
Exactly. And that's literally that, like how you asked me at the beginning, what's one ideology that I disagree with? And I have to say another one. And what we're saying right now is that it's not the sorry, we're going to have to cut this. I'm blanking.
It's all good. 21. It's all
we're
good.
We're going to have to cut this. I'm blanking. Oh, shit. It was so good. Oh, man. What was it?
So another ideology that you disagree with. Yeah, and I had said it's not, we make it about the experience, not about the price.
Yes, before that you had said something else, and it was really key. Shit.
Where I'm elevating the experience.
Oh, yes, I got it. Okay, tell me when you're ready.
Okay, 3, 2, 1.
So another, back to your original question where you asked if there's a certain ideology that I disagree with. Another one that I think of that's very key is the fact that everyone just assumes that sales is a numbers game. And it's not a numbers game. It's not a dollars and cents game. Sales, in theory, when you think sales, you think money. But sales is a psychological game. So if you could get in the client's head and get them, more so than getting in the client's head, get them into your head. Get the clients into your head, into your mindset. Because if they understand your mindset, they almost feel like they know you. And once they know you, they have that comfort and they're kind of understanding your vision. So if you're trying to sell square footage, then yes, you could call it a numbers game. But if you're trying to sell an experience, you have to get them to understand your vision. And then they will be able to better justify themselves. So,
I mean, for me, listening to you say that, and I agree 100%. When they start vibing on your level, like it's in the bag from there. But is that one of the things that has been emphasized by your showroom? Have you seen that it's become a lot easier because now you're physically taking them out of their domain and you're bringing them into your domain? So now, like, it's a lot easier to see things through Tony's eyes because you're in Tony's world.
Exactly. It's literally been that. It also creates a more serious client because, if they're calling 5, 6, 7 companies, that's not necessarily the company I want to work with. I'm all for competition and get your.
It's good. It helps us. Yeah.
Of course. I want you to feel comfortable buying from me because you shopped around, not that you bought from me because you didn't shop around, because then you don't understand the value you're getting. But if you shop around and now you've made an informed decision on why you want to choose us to build your project or design it or whatever the case is, it really does. For me, it's gratifying because then I did something right. And I think my showroom plays a big part in that. Because at the end of the day, once they're in here, I get in my own space. I'm a very social person, as you know, and I can talk to everyone. But once I'm in my own space, I'm very comfortable. And when I'm very comfortable, like the energy is there. And I have clients tell me all the time, like, Tony, honestly, you're more expensive, but we love your energy. We love the way you talk about this, the passion that you show. And I'm so passionate about it.
That's the emotional side, right? That's the feeling. You make them feel good about it.
Exactly. I get them so hyped. They leave here and they're like, what? Like, okay, wait, what did we talk about? You know what I mean? I get them.
How much did we give them? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't remember. Can we check the checkbook real quick? Because it's really, it's like at the end of the day, they leave here excited. And that's what I tell everyone. And when I first speak to them, first consultation is Look, what's important to me is not right now. I don't care about what pavers you want to put down. If it's a blue or an industrial, that's irrelevant right now. What's important to me right now is that this is an amazing experience for you from this phone call to the day that you write me that last check, to the day even that you refer me my next client or your sister or your brother or your friend or whatever it is. I want this to be an ongoing, beautiful experience. And that's what I've tailored. And I think that the office is crucial in that. And I never understood the value of having an office until I had one. Plus, it gives me a space to really just buckle down and get in my zone, which is hard, I think. We're a design forward company, and it's all about getting into your bubble, I think, and then breaking out of it, so to say, getting into your bubble so you could think, and then breaking out of it so you could, come up with something cool. And that's what I'm able to do here that I'm not able to do in my truck or at home.
Let's shift gears a little bit, and I want to ask you, because you mentioned it a couple times now. You've been saying like the volume game versus like the design game or the experience game. At what point was that something that you concluded about what you needed to do with your business? Was that something from the very beginning? It was like, we're not going to be trying to just, get as much done to make as much as possible. We're really going to take our time and do things a specific way and charge appropriately. Is that something that was, like I said, intentional from the beginning, or you kind of evolved to that position?
It was not intentional at the beginning. When I started, I'm third generation. I'm a third generation hardscaper. So I started working in this industry at 8 years old, like you did, Alex. And it really, this has been my life. I've known nothing else. So when my mom always told me, go to school. This is hard on your back. And I went to school. I graduated from CJEP and I did that whole thing. I even have my mechanics cards for some reason. But why not? Whatever. It was a year and a half of
you own enough machines. It must be practical.
Now it's exactly. That little course fee was pretty. It's made its money quite a few times. But what it comes down to is the fact that I wanted to do this. I knew I wanted to do this. I love this industry. And when I started 10 years ago, almost 11 years ago, we were doing volume. Well, actually, no. We wanted to do volume. We could not do volume because we were not fast enough. So it was against it was due to our abilities, our limitations, and not because of what our vision was. Because our vision was, we want to install pavers, let's do this. And I always did want to throw in, like the Victorian black band that was in style at the time. It was what shifted us from what we were to what we are is when we started looking at it as in an interior design perspective. Because what was happening was I was looking at what contractors are doing and what the trends are, and as opposed to saying, I don't care what's going on, design-wise in the hardscape industry, because I want to be what's going on in the design industry, in the hardscape industry.
Yeah. That on its own is a mindset shift.
Well, that's it, and that's
what you just said. Like, I don't care what's going on. I want to be what's going on.
Exactly, and not to say like there's, I'm proud to say that I'm very good at what I do, and I could confidently say that. But there are some amazing designers out there, and yes, I do get inspiration from them, and they're phenomenal. And I've had a few roundtables with some amazing, forward-thinking hardscapers. But it comes down to, and I've said this before, when you follow trends, evolution dies. It just stays where it is. It stays stagnant. And that's what I feel. What made me shift is the fact that I felt like our industry was just stagnant. We were putting pavers to put pavers.
You were getting bored.
I was getting very bored. And, this is a hard job. If you're not having fun, and I cannot say this enough, if you're not having fun, there's a million other industries you could be in. If you're choosing to do this, then do it. Go all in. You know what I mean? And that's what I did. I said, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to make a name for myself, and I'm going to have a ton of fun along the way. So that's kind of the way we that's where the mindset switched, and that's where we started to say, okay, what did we do in the last one? That was pretty cool. How could we have made it better? Okay, on the next one, we'll recommend this, and then it just it becomes a snowball, and it becomes an addiction. more than anything. It just becomes an addiction, like anywhere. You're like, oh man, but you're fighting against yourself, right?
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
constantly trying to outdo yourself, because I don't try to outdo other contractors. I love watching contractors come out with some amazing stuff. Like I said, I don't care what's going on. I want to know that I'm on the right track.
Yeah.
So I'm constantly battling with myself to push the limits to the next level.
Yeah. Well, you know, like I'm a believer of this. Like, if you ask me, like, who do the best compete with, and you know, for me, and maybe it sounds arrogant, and frankly, like, I don't really care if it sounds arrogant, because this is how I go through my life. Like, if you want to be the best, who should you be trying to beat all the time? It's not your competitors. It's the previous version of yourself. Because if you're constantly trying to beat what you were, then you're going to finish by ending up being the best, because you're just going to continue pushing and pushing and pushing. You can't stop pushing, because every day you need to be better than the day before. And if you're looking at everyone else, then you're the best you can do is whatever they're doing, or maybe a little bit better. And that's kind of like what you said with the trends, right? Like, if you start looking at the trends, well, then evolution stops, because you're just looking at what everyone else is doing instead of looking at what you could be doing better. Exactly. And it's that, I think that's that self-reflection that really, and I see it, right? We've been having these podcast recordings and the Level Up series on hardscaper.com. And my whole career, like you said, since 8 years old, I've been on job sites talking with contractors. Like, this has been my life too. And it's always the same thing. The people who are the best insist on beating the previous version of themselves, not somebody else. They don't obsess with everyone else. They obsess with themselves and what they're creating.
100%. And, one thing that the way I believe in is people, I love my work, and I'm very proud of my work, and I showcase it, and all over Instagram and all that. I take pictures, and I really love every project that I do for its own unique reasons. But I don't think I will ever, and I think every designer will say this, you've never built your masterpiece. You have never built your masterpiece until you're gone, and your best job would be your masterpiece. Right?
Time determines your best one, not you.
Exactly. Because at the end of the day, you will always be, or you should always be, your biggest critic. You know what I mean? There's always something you could improve on, no matter how good you are, no matter what. There's no perfect formula for anything. And that's why I say volume game is a volume game, and that's cool, and that's fine.
And there's ways to be better. There's ways to be great there too, right? You can be really focused on efficiency and productivity, and looking at really dialed in on the production rates of every single job function on a project. And absolutely, there are people who are extremely passionate about that, and that's what they do, and that's what makes them great. You got to tap into that. Exactly. And that is an art form. Anybody who's watched, like, even when I look at I'm sitting at Teckle Block right now, and even when I look across the street at our manufacturing facilities, to see the level of automation and engineering and efficiency that has been baked into every single element, that is art on its own. And people may not appreciate that as art, but really any creation that anyone can come up with is their own expression of self, and that is really the definition of art.
Of course. I tell everyone, anything I'm dealing with, whether it's my accounting or this or that, when they come up with something amazing, my comment is, dude, you're an artist. You know what I mean? Or you're an artist. Because it's, we art is obviously, art is art, right? But when someone is very good at what they do, it's an art. So yes, if you are very efficient and you are great with numbers, and you've calculated your business, like you said, to the point where you know where you're losing, where you're gaining, how to maximize profits while keeping up quality and still making, obviously, like, making that profit, then that's an art. Then that's your thing, and that's cool. So there is no right formula. That's what I would say. There's no right formula, because that might work for that guy.
That's what I love about this industry. There are so many people who are killing it, and they all do it differently. That's a beautiful thing.
I could listen to every single one of these podcasts, watch every single one of these videos, and I will take something away from every single one. And it could be the same topic, and I will take something away from every single one, because everybody, and I mean, you speak to so many hardscapers. You must have this, like, encyclopedia of knowledge. That's not,
Well,
you know,
that's why we started a show. Like, look,
yeah,
man, if I've got to have these conversations, let's make them public and let's help people.
that's it.
It's
So it's really that.
it's a beautiful industry, honestly.
But
I know
that comes
we're
from
kind of
passion.
taking the scenic route through our conversation here, but like honestly, it's a beautiful industry, and there's so much potential, so much that you can do in this industry, working for someone or starting your own business. And if you can appreciate all these different aspects of it, you can have fun literally every single day and never get sick of it. Never, ever, ever, ever.
But this whole, like, yes, we're taking, that's it. But we always take the scenic route through everything when we
Yeah,
talk.
but that's
But it's, again, it's because it's passion driven at the end of the day. And I think that makes for the best conversation. That's where you get the best, that's where you get the most real conversation is it.
yeah.
It's all about passion. So like everyone that you interview is always, it's passion. You see them, they love what they do. Right. And I think that if you don't love what you do, then you're not trying to reinvent the wheel. You're not trying to push the boundaries. You're just getting it done because that's how you earn a living. And you know what? If that's how you want to do it, then that's fine too. If you're just comfortable, this is how you're supporting your family and or yourself or whatever the case is, then that's cool. You know, I take my hat off to you because again, it's a hard job. And if you're not enjoying it and if you don't have fun with it, then I really take my hat off to you because you're a soldier.
Sure.
But
Yeah.
but if you're having fun doing it, then you know that's amazing. That is just incredible.
And I think that's really important because I think this is my personal belief, and I think it's yours too. Like if you go and you start your own business, if you do it and you say, you know what, I'm going to do this with my life. If you're deciding to do that with your life, it's because you have a passion for it somewhere deep down inside. You feel like that's what's pulling you. That's what's calling you. So it's so important. And this is, again, talking about why we have hardscaper.com, why we have this podcast, why we have the Level Up series, why we have the courses on hardscaper.com. I really believe that like you deserve to live that passion every day through your business. So if there's things that are stopping you, whether it's being able to figure out how to recover your overhead to become more profitable, or figuring out how to break out of the design shell that's kind of keeping you right in line with everyone else and you can't differentiate. And we have conversations like this to kind of push that thinking. Or it's about marketing your business to be able to get better leads or any of this stuff. Like that's really where we're coming at it from is, you know, you deserve to be able to build the business that you want, that you envisioned when you started, or maybe even bigger and better. You're allowed to do that and you should be able to do that. So let's just help you. And that's why for me, like getting guys like you on the show who's always happy to answer questions, always happy to throw your opinions around, always happy to answer other people's questions too. I know you're getting questions on your Instagram handle.
Like crazy.
It's Zamco Group, right? At Zamco Group.
Yep.
You get questions all the time. I know you're answering all of them. Like
I love it.
For me, like it's people like that, people like you that make this industry what it is.
Thank you. Well, it wasn't the goal in, you know, what we do. It's, like I said, it really comes from, again, passion. I have contractors reach out all the time, ask me questions. I have homeowners reach out like, hey, you know, I'm thinking of doing this project and, you know, what do you think about this? And I'll give them my opinion, whether it's I'm doing the project. Sometimes it's not even, sometimes it's in, you know, my, you know, it's in Montreal or Laval or whatever the case is, but sometimes it's from the US, it's from all over North America. And I think that's what I find the most exciting, that I'm able to reach out to people on a nationwide and North American wide,
international,
platform.
Mr. Worldwide,
International, technically, yeah.
Tony Zambito.
Shave my head, shave my head, get a cool pair of glasses, Mr. 514. but no, it's exactly that. It comes down to the fact that I love speaking with contractors, and I feel like this year, because it's with, you know, the pandemic and everything, we have been podcasts have taken off. I mean, people are all over their phones, their computers, whatever the case is. There's so much knowledge out there, more than ever before, and from being on a lot of these roundtables, even when it's just, you know, like a random roundtable that doesn't actually have a significance, just a bunch of contractors talking, I love that, because for myself as well, it's very constructive. Because even when I say, it brings up ideas in mind, I hear, you know, from other people, And I really love it because it allows me the opportunity to put my ideas out there, and then by watching, I bounce them back to myself and say that was stupid, or that makes sense, or you know what if we do that? What if we do it this way? So I've been able to build on what I've been working on, but honestly, social media has been so great that like I could never imagine if you would have asked me 10 years ago when I started Zamco, where would I be in 10 years? I had a vision, but I never thought that it would be what it is now. And I'm so proud of what we've built and the team around me that has been there. My wife has been so patient for so many years. We've been, I had my kids after starting my company, and that's been an obstacle for my wife as well. But like she understands the vision, and luckily I have the right partner behind me. Just like I have the right team behind me. Just like now I've hired my brother for sales because he has the same vision. It's very important that you have the right people around you, and and also these conversations, having the right network of contractors to speak to, because that's a big part that could really help you break out to the next level. So and that's another function that we're going to be rolling out on hardscaper.com. It's there now. We haven't really done any training on it or anything to help people understand. I'm just going to pick this part up because my computer decided to make all kinds of noises all at once. My computer decided it wanted to connect to Siri again. Not sure why. It's like, what did you say? Nothing, man.
Let me pick it up and then I'm gonna end it here. And what you said there about connecting with other contractors is key too, and that's something else that you can do on hardscaper.com. Right now, if you go and you take any of the courses, you can see other people who have taken those courses, and you can actually connect with them. You can send messages back and forth and stuff like that. So that's something that exists on the site. We're going to put together a little training video to help people learn how to use that. But it's cool because I'm already getting messages directly on the website from contractors asking questions. So it really is about building this community, bringing people together, because like you said so well, I can't say it any better. Like you can learn something from everyone that you meet, and everybody could do things differently and still succeed. And you being able to exchange ideas and talk about the way that you do things helps you understand other perspectives and helps you understand your own thought process better too, because you're explaining it. And sometimes you do things almost instinctually and you don't really think about why you're doing it. As soon as you start explaining it, like, oh, that makes a lot of sense. I'm pretty smart. And you start to build more confidence and you start to build your business. And that's what happens too, right?
Yeah, for sure. It's, and like I was telling you, I have a lot of people that have been reaching out like, hey, great job on the Level Up episode 1, and they're saying, because they've known me for years. They're like, it's crazy to see how far you've come and all that. And again, like even for me, it's every day it's exciting. Like what's going to happen next? Where are we going to go next?
Yeah.
Now we're in growth.
That's the fun of it.
Obviously, like it's funny. This is the growth podcast, but Zamco right now is in major growth right now. This season is going to be our biggest season yet. I mean, we're going from 1 team to 4. You know what I mean?
Whoa!
Just because
I didn't know that.
Yeah. We're quadrupling our crew. We're going from 1 team to 4. We already have the workload, so we had the workload for 2 crews, and we shut our schedule. We closed it completely in November. We said, look, we're not taking any more clients in November for the upcoming year, and we were already signing for 2022, which sounds great, but that's not a good thing necessarily because you're not accessible.
If it gets too far, that's it. And if you're not accessible, you risk disappearing too. So this is going to be a very interesting year for you.
That's it. Because I always said, like, I love my. We're lucky enough to be able to really with the workload. I mean, all contractors kind of feel this right now. You could kind of pick and choose the type of jobs you want to do right now with the demand that's out there. But my biggest fear, and this has always been like, I don't want to miss out on that project I would love to do. Forget the money, forget any of that, the client, like it doesn't matter who the client is or what the project is, just that it's something that you would love to do, like a project I would have a lot of fun with. And I would hate to miss out on that because I don't have time in my schedule. Because people are willing to wait a couple months, but if you tell them, look, you're looking at 20,
wait a couple of years, that's a different story. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I guess.
So
I guess.
We've.
No, go ahead.
No. So basically, we've added 2 more crews just to open up our schedule again. So it's going to be an exciting year. It's going to be big, and we have a lot of really cool stuff in the pipeline, which is going to be awesome.
So I guess we're going to have you back on the show to talk about maybe get a little status update from you on the expansion from
sure,
1
I might
crew
be
to
bald
4.
by then.
Well,
You're going to see me.
Too.
I'm going to be a wreck. I'm going to be wrinkled and balding, gray hair. Just 1 year.
Or not.
1 year with 4.
Or not.
Or not.
Yeah.
We're going to be on a beach somewhere. I'll relax finally when the beach is open.
Oh, we'll see.
Who knows?
See.
But yeah, for sure, this is going to be exciting. So yeah, guaranteed in a year from now, we might have a totally different conversation. And it'd be exciting to see where a lot of contractors are going to go this year, because I'm talking to a lot of guys, and a lot of them are just exploding right now. And it's super exciting to see, because a lot of these are friends. They've become friends and acquaintances and all. And it's like, you really want to see them succeed, and watching everybody around you succeed, to me, is a success by itself. Right. So
that's it. And the industry has that room. It has that room to grow and have many people succeed. There's, like my dad always used to say, the sun shines for everyone.
Yeah. What's funny is the first time I met your dad, it was actually, I went to the showcase project prior to building it and all that, and your dad had showed up and we're talking, and then I went to go grab a bite to eat after we left. Went to grab a bite to eat, and your dad was there. So I'm sitting at the table with him, and your dad knew my grandfather from back in the day. And he starts telling me stories, because my grandfather was a character, man. And he starts telling me stories that he used to go out for like meals with my grandfather and all that. So like there's that history, and it's so cool now to see this all kind of turn around, and now we're here having this conversation. It just goes to show that this industry's been around for so long, and and
we still aren't even scratching the surface of what it can be.
Nowhere near. In 20 years from now, I want my son to have a conversation with your son. You know what I mean? Or daughter, or whatever the case is. And
no, I can't wait for that.
It's going to be. This is a generational. This is a generational industry. A lot of people are generational. So I would love to see in 20 years from now. Look where we've come in 20, 30 years. Imagine 20, 30 years from now. And that's where it's our job to push it to what we want it to be.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Tony, the visionary. Thanks for joining us on the show, Tony.
Thank you very much for having me. Anytime, you know that I'm available. And if anyone has any questions, don't be shy. Follow us on Zamco, @Zamco Group on Instagram, and shoot me a DM. Ask me whatever questions you have, and I'm more than happy to answer whatever type of question it is, whether it's design based, structural, sometimes just management, whatever it is. If I can't answer your question, like I said, with this, we've met a lot of contractors, and I could point you to the right contractor to really answer your question the best way and to benefit you. So, don't be shy. Don't be shy.
I love it, man. Fantastic. All right, guys. That's it for this week's episode. We'll see you next time on the Hardscape Growth Show. Till then, work hard, pave harder. Thank you very much.